business owner, speaker, and author. She joined Sierra Advanced Speakers so she would have more opportunities to listen to and receive feedback from other experienced speakers. Vickie has been looking forward to the holiday season for months, anxiously awaiting the opportunity to tell her very favorite Christmas story. This folktale shares a different perspective on Christmas. It is the reason she sets up and decorates 3 Christmas trees each year. Please join me in welcoming Vickie Musni as she presents The Tale of the 3 Trees. Vickie.
Once upon a time, a long time ago, there were 3 trees growing on a hillside. And like a lot of little kids, as those little trees were growing up, they would talk to each other about what they wished for and what they wanted to be when they grew up. The first little tree looked at his friends and he said, well, when I grow up and I get cut down, I want to be made into a bed for a king. I want to be in a palace and have a king sleep in me. Now his other friends looked at him and said, well, that's fine for you. But when I grow up, I want to be made into a strong sailing ship and carry the most precious cargo in the world. I want to be filled with diamonds and jewels and sail the seas and have treasure in me. And the third little friend looked at his other buddies and he said, that's nice for you guys, but when I grow up, I don't really want to be cut down. I just want to keep my branches pointing to God forever. I don't want to be cut down at all. Time passed, and the trees grew up, and the first little tree did get cut down. Do you remember what his wish was? Any of you kids remember? What?
He wanted to be for a king's bed, live in a king's place, and the king sleep in it.
A king's bed and in a palace, and have a king sleep in him. That's right. But you know what happened to him instead? He was cut down and made into a little wooden box and put in a stinky barn and filled with stinky hay and had stinky animals eating out of him all day. And he was so sad that he didn't get his wish. And day after day, he was just surrounded by all this stinkiness. And then, one night, a man and a lady came to sleep in his barn. But they didn't just sleep. That night, the lady had a baby. And they took that little baby and wrapped him in some cloths, and because they didn't have a bed, they put him right there in that little feed box full of hay. He was so confused. And then he heard angels singing, and shepherds were coming, and people were coming and talking about the baby. And you know what they said? This is the Son of God. We have come to worship him. He's the King of Kings. And that little tree said, wow, I guess I did get my wish after all. Some more time passed, and the second little tree got cut down. Who remembers his wish?
To be made into a boat and have diamonds and jewels.
Yes, he wanted to be made into a boat and carry precious cargo like diamonds and jewels. But you know what happened to him? Instead of being a strong sailing ship, he was made into a little rinky-dinky fishing boat. And again, he found himself surrounded by stinkiness over and over again. Stinky fishermen, stinky fish, and instead of sailing the strong seas and carrying precious cargo, he was just carrying stinkiness. And sometimes he was just rocking, and there were storms, and he just didn't have a very fun life. And he thought, wow, I didn't get my wish. Until one day, there was a particularly bad storm. And the fishermen started talking to each other, and they went and woke up this man that was sleeping near the bottom of the boat. And he just went right up to the top of the boat and looked out at the sea and said, peace, be still. And the whole storm just stopped, just like that. He didn't know what was going on, so he listened to everyone that was talking. And you know what they said? Wow, who is this that even the wind and the waves obey him? This truly is the Son of God. And that little tree thought to himself, I'm carrying the Son of God on my boat? I guess I did get my wish after all. Because what could be more important than that? Might not have been gold and silver, but he was carrying precious cargo. Another year or two passed, and the third little tree got cut down. He was the most sad of all. He never wanted to be cut down. He just wanted to point people to God. And you know what they made him into? A cross. One of the most sad things that could ever be made from wood. They hung a man on him, and he died. But 3 days later, as that tree was standing on the hill listening to the people around him, he heard them talking. And the people said, "Guess what? He's not dead anymore. He rose again. Come and see. Come and see. He's alive." And he's listening, going, What? What are they talking about? How is that possible? And he heard the women come, and they told the men that were around them. And sure enough, it was true. Jesus didn't stay dead. He rose again. And from then on, every time someone saw a cross, those branches would point them to God and remember what happened that day. So that tree did get his wish, even though he got cut down. His arms were forever pointing people to God. My message for you today is that sometimes in life, we seem to make wishes that don't seem to come true. And we have dreams that we think are going to play out a certain way, and then something else happened. But I just want to encourage you, don't give up. There might be a different plan, and you might still get your wish after all. It just might look a little different than you were first expecting. That was Masters.